Welcome back to The Conscious Conscience, where we unravel the threads of conspiracy and trace the patterns of history. In our last episode, we explored the 5G and mind control conspiracy, its origins, the science, and the fears it taps into. Today, we're turning up the dial and diving deeper into the reality behind the claims, separating fact from fiction while examining what it all means for us moving forward. Let's begin by addressing the core of this conspiracy: the alleged ability of 5G technology to control our minds. Last time we talked about the Frey Effect, a real, scientifically documented phenomenon where specific microwave frequencies can produce sound in the human head. But as we clarified, this effect is far from mind control. It's more like hearing a faint click or buzz, a neat parlor trick of physics, not a tool for manipulation. For the curious, the Frey Effect has been studied extensively, and while it's fascinating, it's also incredibly limited in its scope. If you're a science enthusiast, check out journals on bioelectromagnetics or revisit Dr. Alan Frey's original research. These resources give insight into the true boundaries of this phenomenon. Now, what about the bigger picture? Why does this conspiracy persist despite overwhelming evidence against it? The answer lies in a potent mix of historical fears, mistrust of institutions, and our relationship with technology. Throughout history, technological advances have often sparked fear and suspicion. Think back to the advent of electricity or the first radio waves. Each came with its share of doomsdayers. Today, 5G has become the latest lightning rod for these anxieties. This isn't just about technology. It's about who controls it and how it's used. And speaking of control, let's tackle another cornerstone of this conspiracy: the idea that 5G is part of a larger plot involving surveillance or even population control. These claims often draw from real events like government surveillance programs exposed by whistleblowers and weave them into a narrative that's equal parts fact and fiction. The result? A story that feels plausible enough to believe, especially in a world where privacy feels increasingly elusive. So while surveillance states do exist more prevalently than we realize, and 5G towers are most certainly helping disperse its abilities, it's not any different in that matter than your Wi-Fi at home or at work, or the security network Walmart is using the second you pull into the parking lot. It's not on mind control to blame for your impulse purchases, that's for sure. But here's where it gets tricky. When legitimate concerns about privacy and data security are mixed with wild, unsubstantiated claims, it becomes harder to separate truth from paranoia. This is why understanding the science and the history is so important, and not necessarily believing that photo you saw circulating on Facebook. By looking into the past, we can clearly see how similar fears have played out, how societies have responded, and what lessons we can carry forward. For example, the fear of mind control isn't new. During the Cold War, programs like MKUltra fueled public imagination with tales of brainwashing and secret experiments. While the reality of these programs was disturbing enough, the myths that emerged around them took on a life of their own. Today, 5G has inherited that legacy, becoming a symbol of deeper anxieties about power, autonomy, and the unknown. As we navigate these complex issues, it's crucial to keep a balanced perspective. Yes, we should question the systems and technology shaping our lives, But we must also ground our questions in facts and historical context. By doing so, we not only debunk unfounded fears, but also equip ourselves and others to address the real challenges ahead, from data security to ethical tech developments and political strifes. Most of these issues are complex and scary enough on their own. We do not need to keep adding these layers of misinformation for likes, shares, and comments. So, as we wrap up today's episode, let's take a moment to reflect. The stories we tell about technology, control, and power aren't just about the present. They're echoes of the past and signposts for the future. Understanding these narratives helps us navigate the challenges of our own time with clarity and purpose. Remember, history doesn't just teach us about what was, it reveals patterns that unfold in the here and now. By looking to the past, we gain insight into fears and hopes that drive us, as individuals and as societies. And in a world that often feels divided, this perspective can be a powerful tool for unity and progress. Well, that's it for today. But the conversation doesn't end here. Join us next time as we take a special trip to the past, all the way to 1929, in fact. Until then, stay curious, stay conscious, and we'll see you next time.